bad you didn't film any of that.
No.
I wish you filmed it.
Oh, no.
I wish you did. That's my uncle.
Yeah, I
Tells
feel...
so many stories.
I didn't film this. I feel beginning, but I saw so maybe so many pirates. Oh, swimming pool. See, that's
I
what.
see that.
But you remember the story, right? How your father, your mother making.
Maybe you ought to say it. I didn't know that story until he just told me.
Yeah.
Were you anxious to leave, or were you,
I'm okay.
was that boring?
No, just.
Were you bored, Yawini? A little bit.
No, I just something come to my mind. He is 88, so yeah, your father side not everybody's die early. He's
Yeah.
How many brother and sister does your brother have?
Does my mother have?
brother.
I don't have any brothers.
No.
Oh, okay.
Your father side.
My brother? My father?
Yeah.
Okay. So he had, I think, a total of 9.
Oh.
Wow, families were big back then. Because you didn't live. Your people died from polio, from measles. They didn't have
Right. Very long life.
didn't have vaccinations. They didn't have thing for infections. What is that called?
Vaccine.
Vaccine, but penicillin. They didn't have penicillin. Come in there fast and hot, mother.
I don't even realize that he has that many stories talk about your father and your mother.
I know.
This is why I didn't feel the.
That's okay. It's too bad.
So when you still remember, can you repeat a little bit? I'm feeling he talk about how he met him. So it's beginning your father and your mother live here first.
Right. In
So,
the
and,
house, and then
His
my
wife
mother,
live here. So Ginny tell him, come to see here, so let her go.
come and have dinner. And so he showed up for dinner, and Beverly was there, who lived up the street, and he walked her home and gave her a big kiss. And that was the end of it. They ended up getting married.
And he rent the house in downtown.
Yeah, he had an apartment in downtown Runford, but he never lived in it because the father-in-law said, hey, can you take care of my cows? I have to take care of my other farm out in Rumford Center. So he says, okay. And, 1 year went by, 2 years went by, and many years he got to liking it. So he said, I want to buy this house.
Okay.
And the father-in-law said no. So he went and bought a piece of land across from my father's. And Ginny's father sold him a piece of land down in Jay, across the street from my father's land. And so that made them all say, whoa, they're going to build a house down there, and he's going to move our grandchildren. So, okay, you can buy the house.
Well, but you know what? I realized with Jenny's father's a big landowner, huh?
Yeah.
He has a lot of property.
Yeah, he was a farmer. He didn't have much cash, but he had. That's why he gave land for a wedding present. And he sold that field for $4,000, and Uncle Jim sold it for $8,000 a few years later.
But what your father said?
My father said, you could have sold it for more. And my father liked to
making money.
Liked to be the boss, and so he would tell my uncle hey, you don't know what you're talking about, and that sounds just like my father. And Uncle Jim finally stood up to him one time down at my Uncle Willard's, and Uncle Jim, he said it was the night of Kennedy was shot, and there was a big fight right, and my mother was hitting my uncle over the head with a shoe. And they laughed at today my mother was buried. There's the Runford Mill. Doesn't smell good.
I don't like it.
The wind's blowing that way, so we can't really smell it.
It's no good. Still no good pollution. So your mother fight with.
There's downtown Runford.
So your mother fight with Uncle Jimmy. I can see. Right?
Right, and Willard, my other uncle, their other brother, Aunt Barbara said, "Hey, he was asking for it the way Wallace, my father, was talking to Jimmy." And he goes, he was asking for it. So after that, my father never argued with my uncle Jim. Even his sister Marguerite, when they helped move her into Jay. So
that's downtown.
This is downtown Runford. Now it is called the Island. And this is this is like what the bridge looked like that my grandfather was a toll keeper on. And to the left is Runford Falls. And then we'll see that closer, but that to the right is the main street. Congress Street.
Okay.
And we'll go through the town.
Okay. I like that idea.
So the Androscoggin River is on our left. There's probably a classmate there.
Runford High School. I've been to Runford High School with you.
Yeah, there's the Elks. So up here is where my father worked for many, many years, retired from the post office. See the mail truck?
Okay.
That's the post office.
I photographed. So
that's the town hall.
Town hall, post office. It was Alan's father worked here for many, many years. He made the retirement money for Virginia leave.
That's the Runford Police Department.
Okay, that's the police department, I can see. That's a fire department.
Yeah.
Fire station. Walkway.
This used to be a grocery store at one time, Sampson's. And then it became Libertier's, a drugstore. And now it's still a drugstore. And you can always see the mill always pumping pollution into the air.
Okay.
And this is Congress Street.
Okay.
This is the main street.
Okay.
So quiet now. There's the fire department.
But that means she's bigger than Limestone.
Fire department.
Oh.
And that's the town hall. It has a beautiful auditorium inside.
Oh.
That's the post office.
It's very pretty, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's the
Post office.
so right there used to be the movie theater.
Okay, that one.
And this is a Hotel Runford. That used to be an apartment.
Oh,
that-
even they have a key band. Honey, that's a very, very, very pretty, a very big town, huh?
Oh, but it's not much open anymore.
So,
Back in the 70s,
so
this place was crazy.
So this is why you don't want to move it back to Jade, I understand.
So everything is, look at that. See, everything's closed.
Yeah.
Look at these old buildings.
Close.
That's probably a bank a long time ago. Now it's an old home building for the elderly. So it's a park down here. When I was a kid, used to have a big Christmas tree all lit up.
So Runford is a big town in your.
Yeah, it was one of the bigger towns in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now look up here. See that's the Runford Fall. That's why the mill is here, because the power from the water is pretty quiet now.
Oh, where's the
shack. See
Cotton
the blue
sheet.
ox?
Oh, it's kind of nice.
Get a snack.
I don't.
So then they put these things down there and to try to make it look like the Indians when they were first here.
Let me go down to look.
Mhm.
You stay here.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay. Wow, it's pretty, huh, Yawen?
Wanna get up?
No, Yawen, she doesn't.